Happy Tuesday. I am so glad that you're here. Today, I want to talk a little bit about a book that I was reading over the summer. I thought I would only read it for like a month or so, but it was so good that I wanted to just really devour it. And so I spent probably 2 months of the summer reading it. It was called Pure Pleasure by Gary Chapman. And every single chapter was amazing. It was talking about good pleasures and bad pleasures and um, pleasures that honor God and pleasures that don't, pleasures that you use to escape versus pleasures that you use to refresh. But it was a wonderful, wonderful book. And one of the chapters that really stuck out to me, it was something that God has really been speaking to my heart for quite a while. And so I just want to read you a little bit of the passage of this one particular page. And then I want to talk about it just a little bit and offer you some encouragement because I was encouraged by the book. And so I want to, in turn, share and encourage you as well. So he says, this is Gary Chapman, in the book Pure Pleasure, if you always sacrifice your pleasure and never take time to get refreshed, others around you will suffer for it as well. God will have to endure your complaining. Your family will have to endure your attitude. Friends and coworkers will experience the ripple effects of your crabbiness. Your body will suffer the consequences of stress requiring the care of others. A convicting quote from Elton Trueblood regularly challenges the author, who is Gary Chapman. The person who is always available isn't worth much when he is available. If I don't take time to recharge, my capacity to minister will nosedive. Your own neuroses, killjoy people, or your spiritual enemy may try to make you feel guilty for ever putting a lock on your necessary times of pleasure. But doing so affirms life, invites you to enjoy God, and becomes an investment in your long-term spiritual, mental, physical, and emotional health. Yes, of course, immediate pleasure sometimes must be sacrificed, but not always. Not always. Make room in your life for pleasure. So as I was reading that, I thought, oh my goodness, that is so true. I know for myself, if I don't take time to recharge my batteries, if I don't take time to create this work-life balance or this serve ministry balance, then I notice that that I'm really not all that good to be around. I'm really not all that productive. And the person who is always available isn't worth much when he is available. That leads me to two things that I want to encourage us about today. One, if we start to see that kind of an attitude creep up in our own lives, then we need to use that as a red flag and hit stop and say, okay, what can I do to recharge my batteries? What can I do to take care of myself so that I, in turn, can then be a better wife, be a better mom, be a better friend, coworker, aunt, grandma, whatever it is that I am in whatever position that I'm being called to do. But second, I also want to have us stop and think, how many times have I been in a room with somebody who is always available and isn't worth much when they're available? Meaning they also maybe they need permission. Maybe they need someone else to come up to them and put their arm around them and say, hey, why don't we take a break? Why don't we do this? Why don't you go grab a cup of coffee? Why don't you go put your feet up for 15 minutes? Why don't you, do something to take care of yourself? I know my daughter, I'll never forget, I was super busy and super tired and I needed to make dinner. And she said, Mom, why don't you just go take a nap on the couch? I'll make dinner tonight. It's not that hard. And I felt so guilty at first because I'm like, I'm the mom. I need to be the one making dinner. But she was an adult. She was either like 18 or 19, or she was either still in high school and almost 18, or she had recently graduated high school and was still at home going to college. And there was no reason for me to feel guilty. Another time, just this past summer, I was supposed to go pick up our daughter at the airport at 10:30 at night, but I had a speaking engagement the next day, and so I knew I would be really tired because my normal bedtime is around 9:30. And so I knew I wouldn't get home until 11:30 or so. And my oldest, he said, "Hey, I'll go pick her up. Not a big deal." And at first I felt guilty. I'm like, "Oh, I shouldn't make him do that. I should do it." But the more that I thought about it, the more I thought, okay, number one, I'm taking away his blessing for being a blessing. And number two, God's giving me this opportunity to be loved on by other people and to take care of myself. So I thanked him and I said, "Yeah, that would be great. If you don't mind, I would absolutely love it if you would go pick her up." Even just yesterday, I worked for like 6 hours on a project and I was exhausted. The night before, our dogs, they do not like thunderstorms, one in particular, and he kept me up. So I think I got maybe 4 hours of sleep the night before. And then I tackled this huge project for 6 hours, and I was mentally and physically exhausted. I had about another hour before before everybody was coming home. The house was quiet, and I had a couple choices. I could either go lay down and take a nap, or I could press on and push through, and I could get something else accomplished. Well, I knew my mental capacity was low. I knew that I was tired physically, mentally, and emotionally. And so I knew that the best choice for me that day, even though I had wanted to get 2 projects done and I had only gotten 1 project done, I knew that the best option for me was to take care of myself physically. So I went and laid down, and I have this rule, like this, I don't know, this rule that I give myself, and that is, if I lay down and if I haven't fallen asleep within 10 minutes, then I'm obviously not tired enough, and then I'll get up and keep moving. If I do fall asleep within 10 minutes, then when I do wake up, I'm like, "Oh, I knew I needed that." And I have less guilt and I feel more refreshed. Well, yesterday I closed my eyes and I didn't open them again for, it was at least an hour before I opened them again. So I knew that I was exhausted. I knew that I needed that. And it helped me get through the rest of the evening and not be so tired. So, what are some of the things that give you pleasure? And this is the fun part of this encouragement today, because not only should we not feel guilty for taking time to enjoy a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. We don't always have to drink it while we're working or while we're driving or while we're hustling around. Even though I work at home, I think sometimes because I work at home, I feel like I have to work, 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 work. And God's showing me that that's not the kind of life that he wants me to live. So to sit down for 10 minutes or 20 minutes and enjoy a cup of coffee for no reason at all is a good thing. To sit and read for 20 minutes for pure pleasure is a good thing. So I love finding out what ways really fill me up. And this book, if you go get it, Pure Pleasure by Gary Chapman, he goes through all the different 5 senses. So he goes through sight and if you're a person who is filled up by things of sight. So like hiking and seeing sunrises or sunsets, or just seeing nature in general, hearing, whether it's waterfalls or music, or for me, I love both worship music, and I love when I'm like when we're hiking and the leaves in the trees, they sound just like different instruments in a band. It's just so beautiful. And I didn't realize that until our kids were in band. And I'm like, oh my, like God made these sounds through nature before we even made them through instruments. Another one that is huge for me that I had forgotten about and that I hadn't been doing for a while was smell. I love smell. So candles or coffee brewing or fresh baked banana bread, all of those kind of smells just comfort me and bring me pleasure. I love to bake. When I'm cooking, not so much. I mean, it's okay, but cooking is not as relaxing for me because I kind of have to concentrate on it more. But baking, I grew up baking, so baking is just really easy for me. And it's just one of those things that I love to do. And when I'm baking, my mind is open, like not in a weird way, but like I'm relaxed, and it is some of the best times that I hear from God, where I just truly am just standing there because I'm baking, but I'm like, Lord, what do you want to tell me today? What do you want to share with me today? What do you want to reveal to me today? And it's just some of the best times. So not only do I enjoy the finished product and I enjoy giving it away if I can, I don't usually want to eat the whole thing. I do eat some, but or sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just give it away. But baking is a time where it fills my senses and it fills me with God. It gives me that chance to hear him and to really spend time with him. So I just want to encourage you today that taking the time to bring pleasure back into our life is a good thing. John 10:10 tells us the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but God came that we may have life and have life more abundantly. It's really hard to have life more abundantly when we're stressed out, when we're crabby, when we're complaining, when we are just so worn out that we're just done. And God doesn't want us to live that way. He doesn't want us to be a representation of him that way. So he wants us to find those little pleasures and to put those pleasures in our life. Some of the pleasures can be vacations, like a week-long vacation. And those are amazing because those really refresh us and fill us up. But he wants us to incorporate those pleasures into our everyday life so that we're getting filled up every day and not just waiting for once or twice a year. So that is how I want to encourage you today. I would love it if you would comment on this video and let me know what of the five senses are the ones that bring you the most joy. Is it smell? Is it taste? Is it touch? Is it sight? Or is it hearing? So what one or ones, because I have more than one myself, bring you the most pleasure? If you liked this video, if you'd hit the like button, if you would subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. And if you would tell your friends about it, I would love that too. My website is in the comments below, as well as the membership, Jesus in the Everyday. Check that out. You'll see it on the website. It's a chance for you to draw closer to God and draw your relationship closer to God. But it's also a chance to build a community with other like-minded believers and to delve into the Bible. It's just really a way to keep God as the focus in your life and to help you see him as you live, help you see Jesus in your everyday life. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great week, and we will talk again next week.